What's going on, y'all? Y'all already know the vibes. Central Ohio creators here back in the building. We got the Jet taking 3 vibes. Ohio Keys as always. And today we got a special episode. Mr. Dame Lee, better known as Art.Life.Six. He's in the building with us today. We got the beat hustler back here on the background. He's cutting up on ones and twos, chiming in as well. But without further ado, man, Dame, it's a pleasure to have you here with us today.
Appreciate y'all having me.
Yes, sir.
Here with us
Absolutely.
Today.
I know we already kind of got the camera rolling and was already getting the scoop a little bit, but this gentleman right here is a photographer, videographer. One more time, cinematographer.
I'm also a music producer.
Got it, started out as a music producer. I mean, just hands-on, full-time Ohio creator right here, y'all. It's a pleasure for us to have you in the building.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
appreciate
We got some
y'all.
heat lined up too, man. We got a lot of questions, a lot of game to get from this man right here. So let's get it,
His
Keith.
first question is, what's your story? What made you get into photography?
Well, I mean, like I said, the origin for me was music. So, you know, I started producing and making beats for a lot of cats. That kind of grew. And me and my man's, shout out to him, Free Will, we had an album together, a music project together. Um, so we put the project out there. It's on Spotify, Apple Music, all that stuff. A little older project, but um, we shot some visuals for it and didn't really care for the process that how things went as far as with the cinematographer and the timeline and kind of things got stretched out and they got passed on to another person. And so at that point, I said, I'm hands on. I always feel like you can delegate and other people can do a job for you really well, but nobody can really do it as well as you can do it for yourself,
Yes, sir.
as long as you take the time to learn it. So I figured I'd get the camera, put it in my hands, and figure it out. I've always been good with, software and just picking up. And when it comes to technology and software and stuff like that, I can like pretty pick up on stuff pretty fast. So got the camera in my hands. I shot a wedding like within 3 months of having a camera, and then from there I just kept shooting, kept getting better, kept expanding as far as what I was shooting, and then that's kind of developed into where I'm at now. So, but originally it was music, and I figured I should do our own visuals, being that I feel like I could really put my foot into it
Right.
and dig into it, opposed to paying somebody and handing it off, and then they may do a good job, but they may go 80%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go 100 on mine.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
The integrity gonna be there if you do it.
exactly.
Yeah, I definitely
I
understand.
always felt like that. Like, you do have to delegate sometimes jobs to other people because you can't do everything.
Correct. Yeah.
But at the same time, I do feel like if you're a quick learner and you can learn stuff, like ain't nobody gonna put their foot into the work like you gonna put your foot into, because it's yours. That's your baby.
Mm-hmm.
You
That's
know what I
it.
mean?
Yes, sir.
So
That's game right there. If you can do it yourself, do it yourself.
if you can, absolutely.
Yeah.
Even if you gotta, it's always gonna be a learning curve.
Mm-hmm.
But if you got the time and you willing, and it's something that you passionate about, definitely, if you can do it yourself, do it yourself. You're gonna do the best job.
True.
You know what I mean? So
Now, we spoke on the photography. You go to his page. I mean, there's no hiding it. The photography game is elite, if I'm being honest.
thank you.
But I mean, I got introduced to you through your videography skills. So talk to us a little bit more about the videography and what got you in that. Well, not so much what got you into that space, but how do you juggle the two? Because I mean, I've seen you put out a lot of work. We've had artists come in, and you've been their exclusive videographer. So
Yeah.
how do you juggle really being this good at photography and still being able to connect with the music artists and do these videos too?
Well, how that kind of developed is like, so music videos, that was the money maker, and that's what I was like really uh, driven to do. That was like my passion, and really cinematography period, because when I originally first started, in my mind and on paper, I'm like, I want to do short films, I want to do documentaries. That's all I used to do was watch films, watch old films, new films, Tarantino shit, even the old Francis Coppola shit, like
Tarantino, that's one of my favorite
Stanley
directors.
Kubrick, like all the way back to the '70s. That's the original Tarantino was Stanley Kubrick, but that's Clockwork Orange, some
Okay.
shit like that.
Okay.
But like that was my original. Was like I was really into just film. Not even I wouldn't even call it movies or video. Like when you into it, it's called film, and that's where I was really geared towards. So while I was working on that, I had gaps in between work where it'd be like, all right, I'm educating myself and I'm learning in between these gaps, but I ain't really putting it in practice. So, I mean, the only thing I could do is maybe take my camera outside and go shoot some family or just shoot street shit and just like try to put, but I wasn't really like, I didn't have consistent work as far as video.
Right.
So in between that, I started shooting street photography just to kind of like almost kill time and just get better
Stay busy.
with the camera,
Build your
stay busy.
resume.
Yeah, and then I started learning how to shoot on film. So it's like, I'm still learning, and this is a way to learn and be hands on. I start shooting a lot of street photography. Even if you go to my Instagram, if you scroll all the way back to like maybe 5-6 years ago, you'll see a lot of just street stuff. But as I was doing that, I developed a love for still images,
Okay.
and so that kind of progressed. And the more and more I got into that, I just kind of like it started veering towards actually shooting people. I went in 2018, I think, to a fashion show um, at a boutique shop in the Short North called Royal Factory. They're still actually there and active. They're on campus now, but and the owner Dre, me and him talked, and I told him like I want to start shooting models and fashion editorial stuff. It's like he's like, I got models, I got clothes. He's like, I'll hook you up. And what you can do for me is shoot me some promo video for my store. So we kind of exchanged like that. I shot him a few videos for his store for promotion. He would kind of send me models. He would let me come into his store and just pull clothes out and start shooting like that. And then me and him to this day, we still tight. I still go in the store and pull anything out the store, just bring it back. But and I still do work for him too. So me and him over the past 6 years actually have never exchanged money.
Wow.
Yeah, but that's my guy though, because he kind of gave me a lane and helped me out with what I was trying to do. And I kind of use my work to exchange. But I don't know how I got good at it. I just probably doing it, just shooting it. Ain't nothing better than actually doing it. Just like y'all could talk about doing this podcast all y'all want, but like the only way y'all gonna elevate doing it is to just actually start stacking
doing
one,
it.
stacking another, stacking another.
Yes, sir.
And you start picking up on, okay, that was cool, but we shouldn't have did that. We should have did it this way. Then you do that the next episode. And then as you start stacking them up, you probably look back 2, 3, 4 years from now. Them early ones is going to look like babies. Like, damn, what was we doing?
Yeah.
But that's just
Yeah.
growth.
Yeah, exactly.
But ain't nothing really like. There's nothing like actual hands-on. You can study as much as you want and watch many videos, and I think people get caught in a circle, in a trap of doing the research and not just putting your foot in and doing the work.
Yeah.
When you just start, even if you don't really have an idea of what you're doing, that's how you're gonna learn, is just starting to do it. And that's what I did with photography. I studied it, but it was like, okay, I'm gonna have to just shoot it. I actually, believe it or not, my first 2 models that I shot, I paid them.
Okay.
Because I didn't have any work to show. I didn't have a portfolio of fashion work to be like, hey, this is what I do, come and book with me, blah, blah, blah. I didn't have that. So my first couple models that I shot with, I'm like, hey, I'm gonna throw you this, come shoot with me. And that way I can at least have some work, and then people can see the work, and then I kind of start building like that.
And they're gonna respect it too. You paying them for their time, like, okay, he's serious.
Oh yeah. And actually, I want to say the not the first, but the second model that I shot, um, amazing model. Her name is Sakura Carroll. She actually won. She was Miss USA 2020. I want to say three. She was. I'm sorry. She was Miss Ohio, and then she went to compete in a Miss USA pageant. But she was Miss Ohio 2023.
Okay.
Amazing model. She was the second model I shot with, and I paid her. And then we've shot probably 5 or 6 times since then, and it's always just been a collaboration because she seen that my work was dope, and we had a good connection when it came to just shooting together. So, but that's how I started though. I threw her a buck, and we went out. We went all the way out to like Dawes Arboretum, which is like an hour away,
Okay.
and we shot some stuff. Came out real good, but yeah, I just had to build up. So I had to start small and almost come out my pocket just to show people that like, hey, this is what I can do. But from there, it's been pretty much if I choose to work with you on my own accord as a collaboration, I do that. Other than that, I'm booking and I'm getting paid. You know what I mean? There's a few models that are high level enough to where um, I probably would come out of pocket, but very few right now, especially like in the area. But yeah, I mean, just work developed over time and over years, just shooting, shoot after shoot after shoot, and just building and learning and experimenting with stuff and playing around with it and figuring it out and figuring out what not to do and figuring out what to do and just working with different people and different models. And so yeah, I mean that the photography developed in between doing videos because I was really almost trying to kill time and like stay busy, and it just developed into something that I love. Yeah. To be honest with you, I love doing music videos, but I actually love doing editorial and model photography probably the most. Yeah.
Would you
Now,
say it's a little? I'm sorry.
no, go
Would you
ahead.
say it's a little easier to like edit the photography versus the videos? Is that why
I
you
wouldn't
maybe
say
like it
easier.
more?
I would say different, but I wouldn't say easier. I would say the reason I like it more, or the reason it's probably at the top of my list, is because you know with videos, um, I always have some control and creative control, and most artists want me to kind of like
Put
take
your
the
vision
reins
on it.
with that
Yeah,
and
yeah.
put my vision on it. But at the same time, like you're trying to work with the artist, you got to make sure you stay in their lane and their frequency of what they want the visual to be. And then you're dealing with a lot of logistics. You got to meet here, we got to meet there, try to get this location. So and so's late. So and so is going to come. Or we got to wait for them. Or we can't do it this day. We got to do it the next day because he had this going on. I mean, it's just a lot of logistics with that. And I found out that shooting fashion and editorial stuff was just really like I had 100% control of the creativity. So if I wanted to say I seen something that inspired me on a movie, and it was chains and leather, and it was all black, and it was a real dim lighting and something like that that I looked at and I was inspired by it. Like I can just go create that, and I don't have to worry about everything else that goes around it. It's kind of like that's where I feel like I can really be free to do what I want to do. I'm free with videos, but at the same time, I'm still like confined because I have to make the visual match the sound of the music. I don't want it to. I don't want to shoot something that totally doesn't match what it sounds like. It needs to
Right.
sound like what it looks like,
Right.
and vice versa.
Yes, sir.
So even though I can be creative with it, I still got to kind of stay in a certain space. And then I'm obviously working with the artist, so I want their vision to come to light too, how they see it. You know what I mean? So I'm free, but at the same time, I'm kind of working in a certain lane. Whereas with photography, I can really just get loose. And I've had my own studio now for almost 5 years, and I was lucky enough to get in there. The guy just we hit it off, and he let me in, and he ain't even run my credit or nothing. He was just like, bring a deposit, move in. I'm like, bet. So at that time, I was lucky enough to get in there, and they let you change whatever you want in the studio. as long as you follow the building rules. But I mean, I go in there, I can paint the whole studio, I can change it, I can bring props in, change this, change that, paint the floor, and do whatever I want in there. So it's giving me a real like creative space, the outlet to create, you know. And then also I use the studio for music videos and other videos too, and I do regular business in there, corporate headshots and family photos. So I do everything in there, but shooting the fashion and the editorial stuff is really giving me like an open canvas to be able to just like, if I think of something in my head, I'm gonna immediately note it in my phone, and I'm gonna come back to that, and I'm gonna try to do it. So yeah.
Do you prefer working with music artists or other types of artists when it comes to the videography? I know photography is a little bit more simpler, but for the videos,
You'd be surprised.
really.
I've had a couple models that was headaches, but I mean, I would say I, I I don't necessarily have a preference. Everybody seems to have their own thing. Um, there's some artists that I really enjoy working with, music artists, because they bring not just the music to the table, but like they got ideas and concepts too. You know, like I know y'all had Kaz.
Those
Kaz,
videos.
I've probably
Fire.
shot like 9, 10 videos for Kaz.
Yeah.
But the thing I love about Kaz is like Kaz don't say I want to shoot a video to this song and then leave it up to me. Like Kaz got concepts already, so he like, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm thinking, and that makes it easy for me to build off of that,
Right.
or throw stuff out there. And sometimes it'll be, you know, I'll have an idea completely for him, like, nah, let's do it this way. But a lot of times he'll have already a vision, and then I can just run with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that Todd
Um,
Smith video, fire.
Which one?
Todd Smith.
Oh yeah, James Todd Smith. Yeah, that's a good one. That's definitely a good one. But I mean, it just depends on the artist. I mean, some music artists they have that creativity in them, even if they don't necessarily know how to shoot it. They know what they see, and if you can explain to me what you see, that's just gonna help me be able to, you know, bring it to life. Um, but it's like, it just depends on the artist, you know. I've had music videos where it was a bit of a headache, but that's just the person, you know. Sometimes you're dealing with a person that may be a little immature. They may be late. They may be a no-show. They may call you late. You're already there. You done brought equipment, and now they like, oh, can we do it tomorrow? I'm like, you know, I'm here already.
Yeah.
You know, stuff like that.
Right.
That's when you start talking about, you know, that's why you make sure you get your deposits, and you gotta really like kind of keep it in line when
Get
it
that
goes
up
like
front.
that. You gotta get at least a piece up front. But it just depends, like, you know, everybody's different. So I've worked in many different fields, and to be honest with you, you don't know what you're going to get until you get it. You know, I've shot a wedding before that was just an absolute headache. So it just kind of depends on what you get and who you're dealing with. Some people are easy to deal with. Some people bring their own vision and bring their own light and bring good energy, and they ready and deposits on time, and you know, they hitting you with new ideas, and it's like, okay, you feed my creativity, so it makes it easy. And then some people, you kind of gotta, you know, work them up to it. But I like doing both. It's just different. Really depends on the person that you get, honestly. Yeah.
Depends on the situation.
Depends on the situation, no matter what it is. Yeah, because I've had great experiences doing everything from family portraits to corporate headshots to events to music videos to editorial. Like, I've had great experiences doing all that, and then I've also had ones that were I left and I was highly annoyed. So just be like that, and y'all know it's the same thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Know, y'all might get the same situation. You might get the same situation where you recording somebody. You got certain people that's gonna show up on time. Their bar's already done. They ready to go. You ain't even got to do much, but be like, let me know when you ready. I'm ready. But then you got people that they come in, they still finishing writing, or they ain't finished the song, or they didn't pay you all the whole part yet, or they can't come
punch
today.
100 times, and you really got to make their verse for them.
There you go.
Yes.
That one right there. I know that part right there. So when I used to do music back in the day, I would do a lot of actual engineering and stuff like that. So that part of the game, yeah. I mean, there's some people that there's some actual music artists that the music they make the music, but then there's some that you have to really like you create
Produce
it
the
for 'em.
song,
Yeah, yeah.
Like without
Yeah,
you,
true.
the song would had no
Yeah,
chance of
right.
existing.
It's
Yeah, like, yeah.
it's definitely something out there.
Would
Yeah.
you ever dabble in music again?
Absolutely. I just gotta find the time, man. That's it.
You used to do all the production and stuff. You say yourself for you for when
Yeah,
y'all was.
yeah. I used to do all the production for me and my mans and some other artists, and that's actually originally like what a lot of people in the city know me for, or I should say, at one point knew me for music production.
Mm.
Um, so I would, and honestly, I still do. I just I'm limited. You know what I'm saying? So my man's I was telling you about Free Will. He got a project coming out. I produced the whole project. I shot 2 videos for it. We got a third one. He ain't released nothing yet, but when he's ready to drop everything, um, he got plenty of it. And I produced that whole album, but I'm limited to like how much I can really spread as far as doing that because the camera keep me busy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like somebody just hit me the other day, and I was telling him like I'm booked through January and halfway through February,
It's a good problem to have right there.
so I can't really like, you know what I'm saying? Like the only way I could really really work you in right now is if like you want to come off some chicken, and then
Get
I'll
that
figure it
expedite.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll figure it out.
You gotta
But
pay
other
for that
than
next day air. You know what I
right,
mean?
right.
Gotta pay
I'll
extra
figure
for
it
that.
out if you can do that. But other than that, I try to leave a small space of time to myself to where I'm not on the books. That way, I still have, I'll be honest with you, I don't care about having too much of a life because this is my life to me.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I don't party like that. You know what I'm saying? I don't kick it
Yeah,
like
if you
that.
love what you do,
Yeah, yeah.
why
This
waste
is
your time doing anything else?
exactly. This is
Mhm.
what I'm focused on, and like, I done done all that anyway. So that's not really a priority for me. But I do leave space and time for myself to just have downtime. I wanna be around family. I may want to travel here and there.
Decompress.
Exactly. So I try to leave some space in between. And try not to overbook myself to where I'm just going crazy. And I've done it before where I've had, you know, 10 projects sitting in my computer that I got to work on, and I'm like, fuck. So I try not to do that to myself. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I work my ass off. So, yeah.
Now, when you go to the page, I see a few different descriptions, on the bio. Cinematographer is one of them. So, for the people who don't know, can you explain the difference between a videographer and a cinematographer?
Well, I think the difference is a videographer is someone that more or less um, documents something. So a videographer can shoot a wedding, and they can document the wedding, and you have the wedding on video, and you have it to watch back for the rest of your life. But I think a cinematographer can make that into something that's special.
Effects and everything else, right?
Effects and just the way that I think even more so than effects, I think just cinematography changes the way that it feels like emotionally. And a lot comes with that. I mean, a lot of when you get into that community, people debate, and they're like, it's the same, this is different. But to me, just cinematography is something that people say cinematic, but I think it's just a different, almost like a film look, or it feels like something special, something different, not just documented.
I know what you mean.
Sound like a bigger job, more time consuming.
Yeah,
more work put into
I know
it.
what you
Seem
mean.
like
'Cause
I would say so. I would say a little bit more time consuming, and I think just a little bit more like focused effort on making it feel a certain way.
It's like thinking what do you think of when you hear the word cinematic? Like cinematic mean
Right. You think film,
like dope, thorough
Sound like
cut
I'm going to the
scene. You know what I mean?
movies.
Right, you think
Like
film.
yeah,
Right.
you always think film.
right? And you wouldn't say like, for example, like one of my favorite movies is Mad Max, Fury Road.
Yeah.
You wouldn't call the person who shot that a videographer.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's a cinematographer.
Makes sense.
Got a lot of
Makes
effects,
sense.
They gonna-
explosions and stuff
Yeah,
like
and
that.
they gonna take the time
It's a different level of
to
quality.
like
It's like a different
different
tier.
level of quality,
Yeah.
and they gonna take the time to line it up and like really make it feel. That in my eyes, in my mind, that's the difference. Is the way it feels to me.
It's like a graduation.
Yeah.
It's a different tier. It's like the
videography,
higher
right,
tier.
to- yeah, it
Like
sound
the
a
people who make
graduation to me.
basically like
Master's degree.
what I'm hearing is like the people who make movies. It would kind of be like not insulting maybe, but like not giving them the proper credit to call them a videographer.
Mhm.
You're
Not
saying
at
there's
all.
a better name for them. They're cinematographers.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
And to me though, it's the feel, man. Like just like music, music to me is a master of emotions
Mhm.
because you can't see it, but it's always going to make you feel a certain way. Even if the music is trash,
Mhm.
it's going to make you feel like turning it off.
Mhm.
But it's going to make you feel a certain way.
Mhm.
And then when you hear good music, and especially when you hear something that you like that really got a chokehold on you, and you play it for like 3, 4, 5 days straight,
Yeah.
like that done grabbed your emotions.
Yeah.
That made you feel a certain way. And I think the visual is the same way. Like I think you can shoot something and almost document it. Like yeah, here it is. But then you can shoot something and make people feel a certain way when they look at it.
Well, you know that's why it's called movies.
Yeah.
It's literally meant with the intention to move the audience who watches
Right.
it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
talk
I would
about
say so.
Mad Max being one of your favorites. Do you have a top 5 movie list?
It's hard to say top 5, but I mean,
Top 5 directors.
If I was to sit down and write it down, I probably could come up with a top 5. I mean, I'll just say this: I've always been a Tarantino fan. Kill Bill 1 and 2.
Mhm.
It's like
They in my top.
yeah, them was excellent movies. And then I grew up. My dad was like an all-state wrestler. He wrestled at Ohio State. And he was always in the martial arts.
Okay.
So like the Kill Bill was like it brought it all together for me.
Hmm.
And then I always liked the black exploitation vibe, but like the '70s films,
Superfly.
even the fucked up films that was like the edits and the cuts was wrong.
Like a
and
Dynamite,
yeah,
Dolomite.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But
That's an
like
example of one
all
of
the-
the effed up ones.
all the 70s
right,
and shit.
right.
Yeah.
But that type of film to me, I was always drawn towards that. Than like really clean cut. I wanted the dirty, gritty films.
Makes sense.
The ones that was guerrilla shooting. They was
I'm
just
gonna
out
get you
just doing
sucker
it.
type.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But so I would say Tarantino, Kill Bill 1 and 2. I always had love for those films, and then even slow stuff that Tarantino's done. Like I'm trying to remember the name of it. It slipped my mind now. The one that they was the Western basically.
Oh,
You talking about the one with Will Smith?
Wild Wild West?
With Samuel and Hateful Eight.
Oh yeah, the more recent movie. Yeah, I remember
that's a
that.
slow movie, but like
Mhm.
the way that movie is, that is a movie to me that's like crafted.
Mm.
Like they really sat and this is why movies take so long and they cost so much. They'll literally
They putting in millions.
man, they'll take a full day to get a scene or a shot.
yeah.
A full day.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like they sitting there really crafting these shots, like each shot taking their time and putting into it. But
Cinema.
I would say those two. I would say Mad Max is another one of mine. Fury Road. I like all of them, but like that one in particular. I would say another one that actually would surprise you is it's a little different, but I love this movie. Is Scott Pilgrim. I think it's Scott Pilgrim versus the World or something like that. If you ever, it's a good one to watch. It's basically like it's a little bit of everything, but the premise is the guy is basically fighting all his girls' ex-boyfriends, but like he in a rock band, so they be having like rock band battles. It sounds corny, but the way
Until
it's
you
shot,
see it.
the way it's shot is it's an excellent movie.
About what
Excellent.
year was it made?
Scott Pilgrim. It's probably like early 2000s, maybe
Scott Pilgrim.
I gotta
something
check
like that.
out.
Nah, that's a good one to watch. That one is actually the same guy, Michael Cera, That's in Superbad.
Okay.
He's the main actor in Scott Pilgrim. But that's one of my movies that like is definitely on the top of my list. And it's mainly because I think the director is Edgar Wright. But it's just the way it's shot and the just the dialogue in it. The dialogue is funny as hell, but you gotta really like pay attention for it to be funny.
Okay.
But I'll say Scott Pilgrim is another one. That's a sleeper. If you watch that one, that's a good one. It's a handful of them, but I would say them four stick out. Them 4 or 5 stick out to me. I do like Stanley Kubrick, some of the old stuff. So like Full Metal Jacket,
Okay.
which is like
Classic.
yeah, that's a good one. And Clockwork Orange too, which is like late '70s, I believe. Might even actually be '80. It was either late '70s or early '80s. But Clockwork Orange is another one that's like it's a strange movie, but it was pretty much like Stanley Kubrick was considered the Tarantino of that time because he was just doing stuff that nobody else was doing, and he was taking risks, and the dialogue was like it was definitely taboo, and people was looking at him like they can't do that, they can't say that.
Yeah.
But he was pushing it.
He was pushing
the
the
limits.
That's how it go.
Yeah.
Those always end up being the best ones. Like I feel like Spike Lee, one of those kind of guys.
Spike
too.
Lee is another one.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I would say though, like I think not enough of us, especially nowadays with social media, I think not enough of us are willing to take the risk to be completely outside of what the norm is.
Mm-hmm.
And part of that is because like you see trending, and sometimes it's smart to follow the trend if you want to get into a certain space.
Mm-hmm.
You do have to follow it to an extent,
Mm-hmm.
but a lot of times like you do want to separate yourself. And in order to separate yourself, you may have to take some risk and do some things that's a little
Different.
unorthodox.
Mhm.
Right.
That's real.
Yeah. That's what I would say. I would even say with like Kendrick Lamar's last album, I personally hate it.
The current one?
For real?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Is it because it's the most West Coast sounding one?
Nope, it ain't even necessarily it's the most West Coast sounding one. I think he just is in a different space now than what he's been in.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, even though I don't like the album personally for myself, I understand the album, and I feel like he put his foot outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
So what he's doing now, none of his music really sounds like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now even it's a West Coast vibe, but like most people know Kendrick as like a lyricist.
Yeah.
But I don't feel like he necessarily was
In that
That
bag.
he wasn't in that bag this
Yeah.
time. It was
Kept that
more
energy
like
from that battle.
it was more like a
Radio
a
play.
art. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. But it was a different art that he was, I think, stepping outside of to be like, okay, yeah, I can battle all y'all. We can do this. I've been doing this forever. Like, yeah, but I can do this too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So even though I don't like it, I appreciate it because I understand what it is.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
You gotta be able to have some different flavors, different
Absolutely.
stuff in your arsenal.
Absolutely.
Can't just be all the same sound.
Yeah, and I think he's one of the artists that does a good job at that. Like each album kind of moves differently
Mm-hmm.
and has different feel. Like
Yeah,
I'm talking about the
Kanye's
feel
album
of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, even Kanye, yeah. But Kanye, even now, people would say Kanye crazy and this be whacking it. But you know, Kanye would do the same thing. He'll step outside and do something different.
Mm-hmm.
He'll take the risk of people saying it's trash,
And 5 years later.
but it's different. It's
Yeah.
completely different.
Or it might hit there. Next thing you know, next 10 years, everybody sounding like him.
Yeah, I went back and
Right.
listened to
Yeah, I mean,
Yeezus and
I was
that
just
album.
ready to talk about that
Yeah.
album.
I love
Like
that
everybody
album
was
now.
confused by that album, but
Yeah.
I felt like there was a couple songs on that album to me that was like some of his better work.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think in everything, man, step outside and see what everybody else is doing
Mm-hmm.
and understand what it is. But also, I would say, don't be afraid to experiment and try something and fail at it. You may fail, you know what I'm saying? You may mix something differently than what you normally mix it, and it may not sound right. But you may kind of learn from that and be like, but if I do this, you know what I'm saying? If I reverb the whole hook or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and then double it, You know what I mean? Like you may actually create a whole new
Right.
technique for
Yeah,
yourself,
yeah.
Right.
but you wouldn't know that unless you really experimented and tried to do something outside of what you already know.
For sure.
You know what I mean? And that's the same way I am with my editing too. It's like
Student of the game.
I try my best to do shit that I don't always do.
Mm-hmm.
So when I edit, when I'm editing in closed doors by myself, I'll be having shit all fucked up sometimes. But that's how I learn like different ways to do different things. And at the end of the day, I don't have to put nothing out to the public unless I feel like I want to.
Man.
So I do all the work happens behind closed doors, and all the nasty work that's like does not look good and I don't like, and that's the work that actually helps me learn and helps me figure out different ways to do stuff that somebody else might not be thinking of. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think stepping outside of the box is like highly important in anything, man. Anything. Even a lot of these millionaires and billionaires that are in the corporate world, like how you think they got there? They took a risk.
Taking a risk.
They took a crazy risk somewhere.
Have
They
to.
probably took a big L somewhere too.
Have to.
But
You
you
come
gotta,
with the territory.
gotta take the risk. You gotta go outside the box. You gotta do something different. Follow suit so that you in line and that you in the game.
Yeah.
You want to be in the game,
Yeah.
but then figure out what can I do differently that's gonna separate me from the pack.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of times, coming up with that formula, you gotta fuck up. You gotta experiment with it. You gotta try something different. So I've shot some stuff before where I disconnected the lens from the actual camera, but still held it in front of the camera. And they call it lens whacking, but like there's a way that you can do it, and like you can put something, any object in between that, or like move it. And it's tricky and it's not easy to do and it's unconventional and it's not the way you're supposed to shoot and it's not what you should do with your camera, but it creates some different like feels.
Unorthodox.
Yeah, unorthodox. Yeah, you gotta experiment. You gotta try
For
stuff
sure.
to figure it out.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
As far as what I'm saying, trying different stuff. Do photographers do collabs? Like, do you work with other photographers?
I do sometimes.
How does that work? Like, what do y'all collab on? You know what I mean?
Right. I've done it a few times. Normally, it's been with a photographer that I already have a vibe with. So we've either worked together at an event, or he's like, we should do something, or we got, similar people that we've worked with that we got connections and ties that way. So we're like, hey, we can do it like this. But and then you got weddings where sometimes you may be a second shooter, so like somebody trusts you with the camera, they like come help me.
Okay.
Stuff like that.
Okay.
But it just depends. I'll be honest with you, I'm a little bit of a control freak. So I don't normally care to collab with other shooters, but there's certain ones that I feel like are like we got the same frequency. So even though we different, like we can still work together and be in the same space and exist in the same space and still come out with something that's dope.
Okay.
But I'm up for it, but to be honest with you, usually I have to have a feel for you first.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean that happens just through doing other work, Just like the when I first got started shooting editorial stuff at the fashion show, there was about maybe 12 or 13 of us there with cameras. So we all connected and networked, and we all still to this day, like we still connected on Instagram or, but there was one particular one, his name was James. He goes by H1, and me and him got real tight, and we just be vibing out. Like I was just at the gym with him yesterday. So like some people, we just got the same frequency, and y'all can get down like that, and then you can feel it, and you know that it works, and it ain't no ego. They ain't stepping on your toes. You ain't stepping on theirs. You both understand that at the end of the day, like whatever comes out of it is the creation. So it's like ain't nobody trying to outshine the other person. We just like both trying to actually make something dope. But I think it does depend on. I'm down to do that, and more in the future. But I do usually have to have like at least a feel of the person first. Yeah, because
It's some
doing it off
requirements.
top, yeah, doing it off top without knowing the person, and like that can be a little bit much.
I think it's like that with a lot of stuff too. I feel like that's kind of something I see with most creators, and sometimes it's even to our frustration. We might be feeling like we want an artist to come through, do a freestyle, something like that. But I think even in that space, they feel that way too, where like you want to catch a vibe with the environment, with the people first,
Right.
before you get into it like that. You know
Nah,
what I
for
mean?
sure. I think
It's
that
interesting to see you
helps.
say that too. You know.
Nah, it helps. It does help because I mean, at the end of the day, we all people.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's good to have that feel and that vibe of that person, not just the artist.
Exactly.
I ain't be, I may have listened to your music multiple times, and you want me to shoot a video for you. That's cool. That's great. I love it. I'm with it. But like, meet me at North Star real quick, and I'll buy you lunch and let's talk. Let's just rap about. You know what I'm saying?
Catch a
And,
vibe.
and when I do that, that usually helps me understand that person. That's going to help us work together.
Yeah.
That's going to let me know, like, okay, they like to be hands on, so I'm gonna bring them with me and let them be hands on, and like it's just knowing the person help you know the person. You know the person better. It's gonna allow you to create better, I think. And it's just like I'm sure you have new artists come in that record, or y'all have new podcast guests that come in and record. But I think it's probably much more of a comfortable situation where y'all could really get loose when you know that person already.
When you work with
sure.
them already,
Yeah,
at least, yeah.
you
Most
already got some
definitely.
type of relationship with them,
That's the truth.
and then you just build from there.
Yeah.
Because and I had one particular model. I will never name her name, but man, she is a headache, man. She's kind of bratty, and she's like spoiled. And I've shot her a couple times, but I live with it and I deal with it because like that's just who she is and that's her vibe.
You know how
But
to
at
work
first, it was a big like I'm not working with her again. But the second time, I kind of understood her a little bit better, and I understood that okay, I get her now. She needs to be more involved. So I allow her to do that. You know what I mean? Now, I may have the end say so or something, but I'm gonna allow her to have a input on what we're doing. And the second time we shot, she came to my studio, and I had already built the set, and she just started changing the set. Nope, we should do this, and she started pulling stuff down, and the part of me was like, you know what? Like you can go home, but part of me was like, I kind of felt like that second time we shot, I kind of understood her more. Like, get her involved, and that's going to help us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I come in, when I bring her in, ask her like, "What do you think? Should we change something?" And then maybe change it and shoot it. Maybe it works better, maybe it works worse. But at the end of the day, when that person is in a safer space where they feel like they involved, they're gonna come across better on camera anyway.
Definitely.
So I realized with her, I had to like allow her to like be more involved. Where some people like really want me to take all the control, and that's cool. But some people you just gotta learn them and figure out like how they work. Not everybody works the same. So yeah.
What you think sets you apart from other videographers in Columbus?
I think my background in music, number one. I think a lot of people that work with cameras that's what they do is they work with the camera. But I'm originally deep in music, period. And even my aunt, my great aunt, played organ and piano for gospel artists in New York, big gospel artists. My dad played the organ and the guitar. I grew up in church. I grew up playing the drums since I was 5 years old. I started producing music and composing music when I was like 16. I got really good at it really fast, and I think that's really like that's my home base. So I think having a knowledge of the music and putting the visual with the music gives me like a big advantage, because people can see, people see things, but I feel like they don't, a lot of shooters don't realize how much sound affects what they see, and not even necessarily music. I'm, I'm gonna give a little bit of
I was gonna say, I'm
of
thinking.
secrets here,
I was
but like
thinking literally, like
Yeah.
no, just period. Like there may be something that happens in a I may shoot a quick reel for a model or something like that, and it completely changes the feel of it if I do it, if there's a transition, but there's like a sound that goes with the transition. It completely changes the way it feels, and people don't realize how much that sound affects your emotions.
mhm.
And I think music, and not only music, but just sound, period, affects your emotions. Try watching
It does.
something with the volume on mute, and it's gonna be different, you know. So I think that's probably one of my major, um, one of the major things that separates me is just I think I have a knowledge of music that I'm able to marry with the visual, um, and even like whatever I do, I feel like I'm able to like pick the right music for what the visual is. I think that's probably one of my biggest strengths is like pairing the two, and then also being able to sound design and like, at one point that was my like dream job was to be a sound designer in Hollywood. And sound designer, they ain't just dealing with music. They dealing with a movie, a punch. They taking stalks of celery and cracking them and microphones, and that's the sound of fight
Capturing
scenes
that
and stuff like
sound.
that.
Okay.
So actually designing the
Sound design.
like that was
That's
my
dope.
really that was my original. I wanted the sound design and I wanted to score movies. Actually, the music that's in the film.
Right. Score.
Yeah. So I think that's probably my major advantage. I would say that, and because I started producing music, I was really able to like pick up on software and hardware real fast.
I was gonna ask you that. I don't mean to cut you, bro.
No,
I'm
you
gonna get
good.
out here. The dolls that you work
Yeah,
on are kind of similar, of course, audio and video, but they
right.
similar, so I can understand what you mean.
They
And
are. They are similar in ways, um, and I- you know how to manipulate one, you can learn how to manipulate another one.
exactly.
Um, and a lot of them do have, especially you got Apple, and then you got everything that's not Apple.
Right.
But at the end of the day, man, it's all software, and I think I learned how to pick up and learn software and hardware um, doing music. So when I started doing video, um, it was almost seamless. It was like, all right, I can sit there and tweak this, mess with that. I'm also kind of like, I'm not as bad as I used to be, but I'm really a workaholic when it comes to like learning stuff. So I have a drive at home that's a terabyte of YouTube videos that basically I'm totally unschooled in everything I do. So I'm
YouTube
self-taught.
University.
Yeah, I'm self-taught. It took me some years, but I probably have close to 1,000 videos, tutorials, and just educational stuff. And I didn't just want to watch them. I actually saved them to a drive, and I go back and watch this stuff all the time. Even the old stuff that I already know, that I know, I'll edit and have it on another computer in the background, just because that's gonna keep me sharp. But like, it's all the same when you're talking about dolls and editing software. Like, at the end of the day, it ain't nothing but, to me, it's nothing but video games for adults. And you know good and well, you can learn. We know how to learn video games.
Yeah.
We grew up from all the way from the bottom with a controller in our hands. So you stick a video game in front of us, eventually we're gonna beat that motherfucker.
Yeah.
We're gonna figure it out and we're gonna beat it. And it's the same thing. It's just for grown-ups,
For sure.
You can figure out any type of software. You put enough time into it and you committed to it enough, you'll be able to figure it out. And some people ain't really software literate too, and you know, but I don't think you have to be like where we at right now in society, man. It's like formal education is so unnecessary
Mhm.
because we have all the information already at our fingertips.
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid, we didn't have access to all of
Yeah,
this.
Right.
We was dreaming.
Exactly.
And we was trying to get to how do we get to this? Oh, we'll have to go to LA to learn how to shoot. No, you don't. Now you don't.
Mhm.
Now you just got to go to your computer,
Yeah.
put some headphones on,
Seek the
and dig
information.
in for 2 hours.
Yeah, I
That's
was
it.
telling my son, I don't know how any of y'all can fail.
It's all there.
Yeah.
Bruh.
Everything
It's
that's in
all
that
there.
book, they reading off to you.
Y'all
It's
got,
in your
bro,
phone.
if we try to cheat and write a hand, shoe, whatever, bro, y'all got y'all's phone
Literally.
Yeah.
in class.
Yeah.
And not only that,
With
but
all the
they
answers.
have access to AI now too.
Yeah,
Exactly.
that
Right,
helps a
like
lot,
it's-
too.
Yeah.
It's a different
You
situation.
got
for
Chat
them.
GPT where you could say, give me a 500 word essay on this, and that. It's
Mhm.
gonna give it to you, and then you could alter it and alter it, and then you could go back in and tweak it and make it how you want it,
Yeah.
so that it's unique to yourself and it don't look AI generated.
Mhm.
But no, that the access that we have now, technology wise, it's a gift and a curse. Don't get me wrong,
Mhm.
because there is some things about it to me that's not necessarily the most positive, but
Mhm.
the fact that we have the access that we have to the technology that we have and the information that we have, it's endless and it's right in front of you. And it's like, how could you, unless you really don't want it?
Yeah, I was gonna say you
if
gotta not want it.
Yeah, if you really want it, it's all right in front of you. And nobody's really looking for a degree anymore. They're just looking for commitment, talent. Like, can you do the work? How good is your work? And are you
longevity
committed
of the
to
work,
it?
right? A
Yeah,
career.
yeah. But they ain't looking for you to have a degree.
Right.
You
Not
know?
per se.
If
yeah.
you got it, you got it. So and that's almost like how the NBA is now. If you got it, you got it. They gonna find you. You used to have to go to college.
Right.
They scout, and then
Right.
big colleges get all the scout. Not now, bro. You can go play in Serbia, in the smallest league over there.
Mm-hmm.
If you show out over there and you're the MVP, they gonna know about you.
Mhm.
You know, you got players that done skipped the whole step. LaMelo Ball, that man done skipped the whole. He went from damn near high school, went and played overseas. Now he one of the best point guards in the league. Never touched the college.
LeBron didn't go to college either, did he?
Mm-mm.
Straight out of high school, right?
Straight out of high school. I actually went to Akron when LeBron was in high school.
Right.
So we used to go. We used to go see him play his sophomore and junior year. I used to watch him play. But yeah, bro. I mean, it's the world. We have so much access and everything is so wide open that it's like I said, it's a gift and a curse because you got to sift through a lot of bullshit too. Because now anybody can put out. My grandma can put out an album tomorrow. It's gonna sound like garbage. We gotta sift through all the bullshit to find the good shit because everybody can do it. Where it used to be, you got to get to the A&R, you got to get to the label. You ain't got to get to no label no more.
Right.
You need to put your own shit out tomorrow.
Right.
Literally tomorrow, your
Right.
single can be
No filter,
streaming
no listening party, no
worldwide.
Facts.
Nobody to tell you it was trash or good.
Just
You
all-
Now
dropped
20,
it.
now
It's all
20 years ago,
willpower.
20 years ago, that was not possible to put out your single worldwide
By
with
yourself.
basically a push of a button
Yeah.
and like $25. And now you stream it on all platforms. That wasn't possible. It's possible now. So that's terrible in a way because now everybody can do it. But at the same time, it's a beautiful thing because it gives everybody access to do it. And if you can sift through the bullshit and what's not good, you can find some real gems and some
They'll
real
find you
jewels
like they
in
do in basketball,
Most
like they were
definitely.
saying.
You're right.
They'll
They'll
definitely
find
find
you.
You do it the right way, they'll definitely find you.
Yep.
Now, are there any Columbus artists right now you're a fan of their work that you'd like to work with, maybe do a video with, or anybody you got an eye on right now that you like to shoot a video with?
We got to get Huss in there. That's me, by the way.
I'm ready. I'm ready for all the work.
Yeah, that's what's up.
No, let's see. I would say I actually talked to him the other night. Young Wise
Okay.
All right.
is one that we've been kind of chopping it up, and we kind of building towards it. But we obviously gonna shoot. We went to the same high school too, so I'm a little bit older than him, but we definitely gonna end up linking. I don't really have to say I want to shoot with him. That's probably a matter of time before I shoot with him. Um, I do. Um, I shot recently for Dario Lamont and C10, and
He
so
was
that
here.
was
It was
yeah
good.
okay yeah. C10 Chad, he's a definitely one of the artists that been around for a good minute, but it's dope. So I was glad I got the opportunity to kind of put him in front of the camera and we made something dope. So um, I actually love that video that I shot with him and Dario. But other than that, man, whatever comes my way, I'll be honest with you. I'll be so ducked in my back cave
Mm-hmm.
that I don't. I would say my ear is not to the street as far as who's doing what. I
Yeah.
have an idea, and I see things here and there, but I'll be so focused on what I'm doing that I kind of allow whatever comes my way to come my way. Um, and I will say Columbus right now, as the city itself, I would say is wide open for somebody to really like take off.
It's buzzing right now, my artists.
Yeah, it's wide open right now for somebody to actually take off and
Mm-hmm.
Three
you know
got
not be here,
three just got deals.
right? So and like it's the same thing with I was saying with the industry, like everything's so wide open. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily outside of who I just named, I don't necessarily have a lot of artists that I'm looking to work with. But I know the city got a lot of talent, so I mean whatever comes my way, I'm ready for it, and I'm excited actually to work with some new artists. I know my guy Free Will that I've done music with
Mm-hmm.
for a long time. Um, he hasn't really released anything since we released, but I have his project tucked off that nobody's heard. So when that comes out,
Tell them to come up
I
here.
think no, I tell him to come up here. He's between here and Miami a lot.
Okay.
So
Miami, Ohio,
no, Miami,
Florida. Okay.
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 that good Miami,
Yeah. Right. The
Yeah.
real one.
the real one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, when that comes out, I think that's going to definitely make some noise because it's got its own sound and it's got one of them sounds to me that's like it would have been good 10 years ago and it'll be good 10 years from
Do you think
Timeless.
Ohio has its own sound when it comes to music?
now.
Like back in the '90s, it was like that Midwest.
I don't think
folk.
it's like it used to be as far as like regions.
Yeah.
I mean, the South still got its own little South, but I think it's so wide open now that you know, especially Ohio. I think you get different artists that kind of
Pulls from all different
yeah. Somebody
regions.
would have to tell you where they from for you to know where they from.
Yeah.
You know, it's a variety of different sounds that come out of the Midwest now. And you can know even back in the day, if somebody was a New York or East Coast rapper, you could spot it within 2 minutes. Like, oh, they from New York. Now
It's hard.
it could be an artist from New York, and you would think in your mind like,
Yeah.
nah,
They from
he from
Detroit.
exactly,
Yeah.
or he from that. Just like let's say ASAP Rocky, he's
Houston.
from the heart of New York, but
You wouldn't think it though.
no,
Sound
you
like
think he's from
Houston.
Texas or something,
Yeah.
or somewhere in Atlanta or some shit like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's wide open now, and it's a lot of variety coming out of different spaces. Even West Coast stuff. You got your hardcore like it sound West Coast,
Yeah.
but then you got artists like Ab Soul that you wouldn't know where he's from either.
Right.
You know, maybe some songs, but like a lot of times, like you think that he might be a lyricist somewhere from the East Coast.
Yeah.
So I think it's become a little bit more wide open, whereas it used to be really like segregated as far as the sound.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's that way no more. I think it's kind of like it's all mixing and meshing in. Yeah,
That's a good thing for here. You know, it took a
I
while.
believe so.
Yeah,
I would agree with you on that.
Let me ask you a question. I've been asking a lot of the artists to come in, and you got into music a little bit. What do you think about the way the radio stations here in Columbus, Ohio, support the music from Columbus, Ohio?
Um, I don't think, from my experience, I don't think they push it the way they should, or I don't think they give enough exposure
Right.
to the artists here locally as they should.
Right.
They have spots where they do that, and even back when I was making music heavy, like they would have nights where you could get your music played.
Yeah.
Or this
It
and
was a
that.
little
It
bit
was
more
like,
back in the, like,
I,
you
I
know,
would
2
say more
years
so
ago.
back in that. But I think now with radio stations, and at least here, I think it's a little tricky because I almost feel like they've kind of moved towards like the trends and
Yeah.
kind of corporate, and it's not really like, I feel like it would be so dope to have what would be dope if it was like just smaller individuals was creating radio stations
Right.
that was just for that.
Right. They actually
Almost like
cared
some
about
Shade
where they at.
405, like
Right.
some satellite radio
Right.
stations.
Right.
You get on satellite, you can really discover some artists from all over the
Yeah,
world.
that's facts.
But that's
True.
because they ain't just playing Drake and
Cardi
everybody
B,
else that
right.
you hear.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They might be playing some artists from Japan that you ain't never heard of.
Yeah.
And then what do you end up doing? You end up going to Spotify, looking him up,
Googling or
and
something.
then
Just
you figure it
YouTube.
out. Yeah. So, I just discovered an artist the other day named his name is Leon Thomas, I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's dope too.
Super dope, man. I don't even know where he's from, but he's somewhere in the middle between like big,
Hmm.
Yeah.
but small.
Mhm.
He's like kind of
His R&B
coming up, but
Underground, but probably on his way out of it.
everybody gonna know him probably about 6 months to a year.
It's crazy. 'Cause he used to be on
Every-
Nickelodeon.
Yeah, he was one of the Nickelodeon kids.
Yeah.
But he's one of the ones that everybody's gonna know him probably
Yeah.
within the next year. He's that talented.
Okay.
He's really good. But I think that would be dope. Actually surprised somebody here hasn't like really tried to build a radio station from the ground up and get it on radio to where it's just showcasing the stuff that we don't hear
Yeah.
every day.
Putting the
DJ
city
Highlights
on.
trying to.
We need it, man.
They the headquarters of music, man. In every city, the radio station is the headquarters
Right.
to the communication to the streets or music world. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like I always give an example. Like if you flew in town, not from here, you get in hop in a rental off your plane and you turn the radio on, and that'd be a great time to let people know who's here. Doing anything, but they
Yeah.
don't hear nothing.
And not
you know
only
what I mean?
that, I think it'll give you that's gonna give you almost a feel of where you at.
Mhm.
You
Exactly.
know?
Yeah, they don't even know when they come in
Right.
because, like I said, it's corporate and it's about
Right.
the paycheck. They
It
can
is.
just do what they told. Here, play this tape. You know what I mean? So, but
Yep. But I will say one thing about that, and this is with anything. This is with music, with cinematography, or anything that anybody is doing. Like I feel like a lot of times we get caught in like being upset at that situation in the way that everything is kind of corporate, and then you got big, but then you got local, and it's like not a real in between. I think we should really allow that to be a motivator and a motivating factor for us to get better, opposed to looking at it and complaining about it.
facts.
And I think that happens a lot in a lot of industries. Music is definitely one of them. It's just that I think we get caught up in like, local this and local that, and then like I'll see people argue sometimes like, who the best rapper in Columbus? Like, who give a fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you in Columbus and who the best? Who being the best
Right.
rapper here don't really, it's not equating to anything.
Mhm.
But like, don't be upset that you got corporate and they way high and they seem so far away. I feel like let that be a motivator to chase some shit, to go hard, to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stay in the studio till 4 or 5 in the morning if you have to finish the shit. Knock the shit out. Show up on time. Write your shit. You might have a 9 to 5. You got your 9 to 5. Guess what you should be doing on lunch break?
Right.
Finishing your bars. Coming up with new concepts. You know what I mean? But everybody don't want to work hard, but then they want to complain.
Facts.
So like, bust your ass. And if you talented enough, and if you got that commitment, like you can get somewhere. You can get some work done. I seen it's actually a quote. I live by this shit, but I still don't know where I got the quote from, and I have to figure it out. But it was saying basically like, in business and really in anything, Like the only people that actually don't succeed are the people that stop.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
Like you keep doing something long enough, you're gonna get so good at it. You're gonna make your connections. You're gonna have a network. You're gonna start to build up resources. Eventually, you're gonna break through. And you might not necessarily break through to the top, but you're gonna have some breakthroughs. By the time you look back 10 years from now, you're gonna be done met some people, work with some people that you wasn't in your mind wouldn't have worked with. You know, made some bread off of it. But in order to do that, you have to keep working. And people, I think, get discouraged and stop doing what they're doing early on because they don't see no traction. But like with anything, you know, first them first few years is gonna be they ain't gonna do it.
Yeah, it's gonna be hard.
You know?
You gotta keep pushing.
That's
Yeah,
just
my mom
being the
had
business owner.
my mom had a home health agency, and I talked to her about this, and it was successful, and she was open for about 13 years. But we had this conversation, and it was like her first 2.5 to 3 years, she was in the red.
Mm.
She was losing money. She was even at some different points, you know, like having to come out of pocket for supplies and stuff like that. Like when it should have been a circle of money coming from insurance. But like eventually, she kept at it, stayed in the game. Eventually, by year 6, 7, 8, smooth sailing. You know what I'm saying? And everything in the green, everything coming in. You know what I mean? So, them first few years, anything you start, man, they gonna be a struggle. And if they ain't a struggle, it's almost like you should almost want it to be a struggle.
Be
You want to
worried
embrace
if
it.
it's
Yeah.
not a
Made it
struggle.
work.
Yeah. Like,
My
wait a minute,
first,
it's too
my first,
easy.
listen, man, my first 2 years with a camera, I thought I was all right. But when I look back at it now, terrible, terrible. But you know, that was like that's part of it. Like that start. I think a lot of people get out the blocks and they realize it's not easy, or it's not moving fast as they wanted to move, or it's not what they thought it would be. Whatever the case is, I think a lot of people get out the blocks and then instead of just keep going, they try. The answer is switch course. So like, all right, I ain't doing that no more. I'm gonna do this. Well, you keep doing that, and you're gonna be just okay at everything, and you're never really gonna be
It's not gonna stack up.
dope
Yeah.
or dominate in one area. You're just gonna be cool at everything, and you just
Kind of like what you were saying in the beginning of the interview about watering yourself down.
yeah, yeah. You can't do that. You don't want to be all right at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You
You
want to
wanna
figure
excel.
something out that you are passionate about, and then chase that shit 110%. That's the only way you're gonna break through, and then just not stop. Just don't quit. Most people that don't succeed is only because they stop, man. That's it. Eventually they stop. There's artists that I think I don't know if it was Lucky Day. There's a few artists that's out now that was really like they've been pushing for it for like 10, 12 years.
Only got that break.
Yeah, and then finally got the right connection. Somebody knew this person, and they person knew this person, and they got it to this person, and that person heard it, and that's what it took. But there was all kind of everything in between that of them trying to get to that space. And here's the thing too is like, say you do something for 10 years and you still don't necessarily have the success that you want at it, you're gonna at least be proud of yourself that you like, you know what I'm saying? I went hard at it. You do something for a year and a half and then you quit. You usually look back, a few years later and be like, they say that the things that we regret most in life, it's not the things that we do. It's the things that we don't do. So like, if you passionate about something, like you don't have to push it to make something happen to get somewhere. You definitely don't have to push it. But we was talking about earlier, take the risk. Because the things that we do, I believe that. I don't think the things that we do we really regret. I think we really regret the things that we don't even do. Because you don't know. You know what I mean? Like
That's the truth.
I had, my daughter is grown now, and what I say I regret being with her mother. No, I did that. It wasn't a good experience.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like that's something that I did.
Mm.
If it never happened and I didn't do it, like
You have your daughter.
I wouldn't have my daughter, right? So
Mhm.
yeah, I just think chase what you want to chase and like take the risk and do the things that you scared to do. You know, all of us got a little reserve in us about certain things and don't want to necessarily step out or don't want to be embarrassed about something or don't want to come out of our own pocket. But like at the end of the day, like you don't take the risk or you don't make any sacrifices, you're really not gonna make it anyway. So yeah.
What type of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
That's an interesting question. Somebody asked me that before, and I didn't necessarily have an answer for that. I think I don't have the best answer for that, just because I feel like I'm still building whatever it is,
Mm.
and I do I want to be free to allow it to come and be what it is.
Okay.
So I don't necessarily want to like say I want to leave this or I want to leave that. I just want to create and keep working as hard as I can, and then whatever is left behind is left behind.
That's
I
right.
will say one good thing is about what I do is because I work in visuals, the legacy will always stand and it'll be hard to forget because it's gonna be right there for you to see still.
Yeah.
Um, but um, I don't know. That's a tricky question for me because people always ask me like, where you want to go with it, and it's just like, you know, to the top, but I don't know what top.
Right.
Mhm.
There's times where I feel like I wanna go to New York and shoot models, and you know what I'm saying. But then there's other times where I'm like, I want to go to L.A. and shoot music videos and work on film sets. You know, so it's just gonna go where it's gonna go. But for me personally, I think the only thing I can do is just trying to get trying to keep elevating and just making sure that I'm getting better as I'm doing it. So
Yes, sir.
yeah, my legacy, whatever's my legacy is, it's going to be what's left of my work. But I don't necessarily have like a certain point or legacy that I want to leave. So yeah.
Do you have a message to the Columbus youth?
Um, Probably just part of what I was saying is just that we all have things that we want to do, but we don't necessarily do them for one reason or another. A lot of times it's family, or expectations from family or friends, or you got different pressure on you to do this or be that or do something. But at the end of the day, like this time be moving fast.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is that you're really passionate about, I would just say chase that. Um, I really, I'm definitely blessed in the space that I'm in because I love doing what I do. So the fact that I can actually generate income doing it and have fun doing it, I mean, it's a great thing. So I would say chase what you really love, and don't allow anybody else to kind of veer you or take you off that path because they don't, they're not going to be the ones that live your life. And especially as when you're young, to the youth, like a lot of the people that you're around now, you're not going to be around them in 10 years. So you know you don't want to be discouraged by your homeboy when you're 16 about not doing something, and then you're 26 regretting that you didn't do it, and you ain't spoke to him in 6 years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So his whole opinion was irrelevant to begin with.
Right.
So chase what you want to chase as an individual, and just whatever you decide to chase, just go hard at that. Yeah, be focused and use your resources. Like I said, this generation is they have the access to everything so much. It's right at their fingertips. Not only just at their fingertips, I mean, it's on their bodies at all times. You know, you got this phone on you, and that thing is worldwide. There ain't nothing that you can't figure out within like 30 seconds. You know, with Google and the internet and Chat GPT and all the other resources around it, like there's nothing that you don't have access to. So use those resources, not just don't use them for bullshit. Like use them to actually build your life up.
Use it for good.
Yeah, use them for good, man.
It's real.
Yeah, and I would also say, I think right now the culture um, has a stranglehold on doom scrolling. So like focus. And I'm from an older generation of different cloth, and I have to pull myself out of it and understand that, okay, what am I doing right now?
Mm-hmm.
Is what I'm doing right now progressing me in any way? Because if it's not, I shouldn't be doing it.
Right.
And that's especially, that's for everybody, but especially young men. Because I think as men, we have to build our own value. A lot of females are born with value because they're females and they're beautiful and they're gonna get attention without even trying or having no talent or no personality. But like as men, 95% of the time, like we got built from the ground up. So like take your time seriously, and just because you're 15 don't mean you can't do 2 hours of research on what you want to make a career out of. Like, fuck the party. You know what I'm saying? Like, build your shit now. Because 10, 15 years from now, the cats that wanted you to go out and party, they can be in the same spot while you moving and shaking and traveling. So like, take your time seriously. Try not to scroll too much if it's not productive to you in some way, shape, or form. If you're not either learning or educating yourself, picking up on something, or making some moves or some connections or resources or networking, if you're not doing something that's actually moving you forward, just try to be conscious of it and pull yourself back in. You know, it's going to happen from time to time. You may sit there on the phone 10 minutes and you're just seeing a lot, but a lot of times we get caught up in, you know, an hour, 2 hours of nothing, and that's time that goes by. So I would say just spend your time wisely and try to move forward with it.
Any upcoming projects for 2025 you want anyone to know about? What to be looking out for from Art.Life.Six?
Well, my man's Free Will. This album is called A Marijuana, and looking to hopefully drop that
Is that the
spring,
one you
summer.
produce?
Yeah, yes. I produce every track on there.
Nice.
Hopefully we have that out.
Producer name, same name? You got a different
Yeah,
producer name?
yeah. I'm going with Art.Life.Six.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, hopefully that's spring, summer. Other than that, man, honestly, I just really want to dig in to my work. I'm really blessed right now to be in a situation where I'm flexible and my schedule allows me to put a lot of my time into what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm just trying to use that time wisely because, you know, things change. Um, and so you want to take advantage of the time that you have. But as far as projects, just that one, and then just be working as much as possible. Really, that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I'm already a little booked up now, and I'm just trying to make sure that I stay busy. And I would like to put out just a lot of content this year.
Would you be interested in working with a writer to put out a short film or a movie?
Possibly, but I think that may be something that happens down the line. Just because if I do like a short film, I would probably want to take the time out to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
At least maybe like it would probably be at least a gap of like 3 to 6
I'm
months
about to say
where I
probably
wouldn't
like a
want.
quarter a year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to touch nothing
Yeah.
else but that because I would
Yeah.
want it to be done well and done right.
I'm a writer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I wouldn't want to do that quite yet, but I think in the future that's something that I'll probably start getting into.
Okay.
And then I would say this too. A lot of people like there's a balance between content because I will say there are people that put out too much content.
You
And
think there's
then
a such thing as putting too
absolutely because you know what happens?
much? But
People get jaded.
uh,
Um, if I see you 7 times a day for 2 months, that third month, you're not gonna really. It's not gonna affect me. Um, that's why. That's why also the way I put out content, like I don't post heavy. I post here and there, but I think it makes it a little bit more valuable because it's not every day. Or it's not 3 times a day or 5 times a day. Certain situations, certain industries, there are constant posting is probably a good thing. So I'm not gonna say it's completely bad, but I do believe you can over uh, produce content and put it out. I do believe you can't overdo it. I've seen it honestly.
Okay.
So that's why I say it's a balance. You want to be consistent. You want people to know that it's coming, but you don't want to overwhelm people to where they tired of seeing your face, and you just become like it's almost like if I see you so often,
yeah.
I'm probably just gonna keep scrolling because I done seen it all.
Yeah.
Or at least I feel like I have. You know,
Is there a certain time where you realize that your views is up higher than another time?
for me, uh, it used to be a specific time. It used to be like Monday, Tuesday, in the middle of the day, like. But now it seems to be more random lately. But I think that's because my audience is like a little broader.
Okay.
So I don't really. I'm kind of past the point for myself to where I like. I don't. I pay attention to the algorithm, but I don't necessarily live or die by it.
Okay.
If I want to post Saturday night at 10 p.m., guess what? It's going up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think some of that is us taking control of like, yeah, well, you want to follow the trend, but at the same time, I'm not about to be controlled by the shit.
Yeah.
If I got that feeling and I feel like posting,
It's
I'm
posted.
gonna post.
posted.
I might fuck around and post at 3 in the morning when nobody see the shit.
Mhm.
Because when they get up, they gonna see
Yep,
it.
and get up in the morning, they'll see it.
So like that part of it to me, I kind of let go of a little bit as far as like trying to be so specific with the algorithm. The only thing I really do with that is just like I just try to make the best content that I can make, and outside of that, I'm gonna put it up when I want to put it up. Yeah, but like I said, certain industries are different. So there's certain things that you know what you guys do is different than what I do. So there may be different lines it's just smarter to follow. Um, you know what I'm saying, at certain points in time. And even for me, like I will say if I have a post that I know, for example, I think my last reel on Instagram, it was a collab um, with a girl, or I should say a woman that goes by Lexi Witt. And she has a really strong following. When I say strong, I mean I told her the other day she has a cult, and that's what she has for real. Um, I don't know, she has maybe like 240,000 followers on Instagram. So heavy. She does a lot of cosplay stuff and Comic Con stuff and stuff like that. But we had shot. But I knew when we posted, we both already have good engagement by ourselves. So I knew if we posted together, it would be like really, really good. So in that case, yeah, I was tactical about it, and I said, all right, let's post at the right time to try to maximize what it was. So there are times where you're gonna have to like you want to be tactical about it and be smart about it. But I would also say, don't do that to the point where you driving yourself crazy. Sometimes it's just gonna be feel. Sometimes it's how you feel that day. Shit, so there's certain days where I wake up and I'm playing Nipsey Hussle and like today is a better day than I've had in the past month. You know what I mean? Like today's that. Sometimes you just feel it.
For sure.
So if it's a good day, that might be the day that you feel like doing whatever it is. You know. So still go off of feeling like be human, man. I think they have gotten some, especially the younger generation, a little bit dehumanized. Like, nah, man, still feel what you feel and like do what you want to do, and like it ain't all algorithm. Sometimes it's really like this how I feel. Even if your post or that video in particular or that song in particular don't go as hard as you thought it was going to go,
On to the next.
like on to the next. But that was your conviction, how you felt about that shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's I think we lost some of that, like some of the human part of the human aspect of the arts, and that's in everything. That's in TV, music, movies, film, cinema, photography. Like I think some of the human aspect, people so focused on the algorithm and the following and the people going to see it and trying to get views and trying to get seen and trying to get like sometimes you just got to do it for yourself and how it feels and let it come out, let it be authentic. Sometimes it's gonna pop, sometimes it ain't. But I think the people that's more authentic and allow things to move more genuinely instead of being just so like following the trends, I think them the people that usually end up having success anyway. You know what I'm saying? So
Let everybody know where to follow you at, and if they want to book you, where they can reach you.
if you want to book me for any work, you can just go to Art.Life.Six.com. That's ARTLIFESIX.com. On Instagram, it is art period life period six. The word six, not the letter. Or I'm sorry, not the number. The word six. Yeah, and just catch up with me. That's it.
Simple as that. Y'all see how it's spelled? We got it right in the back. He let y'all know how to do it too. So there it is, y'all. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Dame, it's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Came through and really just dropped gems all over the place, man. Really gave us some time to, kind of check out the mindset of the master Art.Life.Six. I mean, when you go to the page, you really see that work is there.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool. We got a little insight to see, like, you know what I mean, the mastermind behind it all.
Thank you, man. I definitely enjoyed myself. Appreciate you guys having me.
Yes, sir. Pleasure is all ours.
No doubt.
And to the next one, y'all. COC, we out.
Me and my mans, we had an album out, and then we had somebody shoot some visuals for it, and it was the process was just longer than we had liked, and it didn't come out exactly how we wanted it to. So I'm like, fuck it, let me go get a camera. This is back in like 2010, man.
Okay.
I'm like, let me go get a camera. So that was like the beginning of me like fucking around, but shit, I done had the camera in my hand now for almost 15 years. So, yeah.
What's y'all's rap group called?
Push Bravo, the Push Bravo. We got
That sounds familiar.
we got a couple albums on Spotify and Apple Music and all that. It's just old music.
That sounds familiar.
It's like I think we released in 09 and 2011. But yeah, I do produce. I don't know if you know Wheezy. She was in here. that's Kaz's people.
Okay.
But I did a few tracks on her album, and then it's hard for me now because I can't I don't want to spread myself too thin. So like I'm so heavy with the camera now that it seems to take up most of my time. So I don't have the time like I used to produce. But that's like my origin. And like I grew up in a church playing the drums since I was 5 years old. So like making beats is like that's second nature. I can hop on that shit like tonight, make fire. But it's almost like I had to pick which route I was gonna go because both of them is like too much.
Yeah, they're demanding.
Yeah, I would rather focus on, I mean, I do a lot, but like doing too much can be a detriment.
Most definitely.
So you really sometimes you got to figure out what it's going to be, and then just like go hard down that road. You know what I mean?
For sure.
But I really wish I had. I was just talking to this chick the other day, telling her like Elon need to hurry up with these clones, man. Because I need either 10 more hours in a day or another body so I can get it all done, man.
It's on the way.
I'd like something on the way.
Something on the way that we
Right.
not gonna be ready
Yeah,
for.
something on the way. Shit.
I know the robots. I mean, they do exist. You know what I'm saying? They definitely
yeah,
are.
Nah, they coming.
Oh, they
Mhm.
coming.
They coming.
They already cloning chickens in Kentucky.
No, it's
All that
coming.
shit, something's coming.
But yeah, I mean, I do a lot, but if I, I really wish I had a little bit more time. I'm wild with the like, bro, I probably sleep like 3-4 hours a night consistently
Damn.
for like the past 10 years,
Really?
and my body is adjusted to it.
Mm.
So I mean, I'm good, but like, I just be working, man.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And when you're doing like camera work and editing and all that stuff, I mean, like, that should take time. So
Editing is life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, especially video, it's
For
a different
sure.
different monster.
Mhm.
And I do a lot of like editorial and fashion photography. Um, if you go on the IG, you'll see a lot of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most
But
definitely.
like with the models and stuff like that. But I mean, between that and the music videos, and then the everyday stuff that I don't really enjoy doing, but the money, weddings, senior pictures,
Mhm.
corporate headshots, like all that type of stuff. I
Mhm.
mean, you put it all together, like I'm spending hours every day on that computer. So,
Yeah.
yeah.